This is 𝗪𝗳𝗳𝗹𝗲 in Chicago, and you're watching my channel, Knowledge for Quality of Life. Friends, today I'll be doing something in the kitchen, and I thought that I'll be sharing with you. We were running short on our waffle stock, so I'll be making some waffles today, and I thought that I'll be sharing with you how to make waffles from scratch. So let's get to it. So I'll be doing the dry mix first. This is a oat flour, organic oat flour from Arrowhead Mills, and this is 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons. This is organic millet flour from the same company, Arrowhead Mills, and the same quantity, 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons. So what I'm doing, actually, I'm mixing all the dry ingredients. This is a psyllium. This is actually a whole millet from Anthony brand, organic hulled millet. This is not a polished one. This is with the brand intact. So this is the hulled. So this is the purest form. Then I'll be putting the psyllium husk. Now remember that psyllium husk gives the texture to the bread or waffle. I have used the psyllium husk in the previous bread which I have shared with you earlier. So I'll be using it gives you a texture and it solidifies a little bit, so the waffles are going to be very a little bit textured one. So this is 1 teaspoon and this is another teaspoon. So this 2 teaspoon of psyllium husk, and then I have a baking soda. So we have baking soda here, and baking soda is 1 teaspoon. So I'll be using 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Remember why we add baking soda and baking powder? Because when we are going to add the apple cider vinegar, it gives the reaction and it's going to give the waffles a little bit rise. And then 2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then I'm using Himalayan salt, ½ teaspoon. Remember that Himalayan salt has 84 nutrients, different minerals, and that's very good. But you got to use in your regular food preparation iodized sea salt as well, because there's not much iodine in here, and we need iodine for our thyroid. Remember, I mentioned in my earlier vlogs. Then we need to use 1 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon. This is a Ceylon cinnamon, and there is another cinnamon available in the marketplace, which is a Saigon cinnamon, comes from Vietnam, and that has too much coumarin. Coumarin is a chemical which can be toxic. So I prefer the organic Ceylon cinnamon, which has almost a very small amount of coumarin, and it's very safe. So 1 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon. That's about it. These are the ingredients for the dry mix, and I'm going to mix it now completely. Now I'll be adding the whole milk, grass-fed vitamin D milk. This is a Kelowna brand, and that's about 1 3/4 cup. So I'm gonna toss this milk here, and then I have 2 pasture-raised eggs. And then let's mix this first so that it has some texture. Then I'm going to add apple cider vinegar and the oil. Mix it well so that all the granules of the flour gets completely submerged in the liquid, and it becomes a really fine paste, so that when the waffles are going to rise during the baking, it gives you a good texture, because you don't want any granules left in the mix. So take your time. Now I'm going to add avocado oil. Remember that I'll be baking this to 430 degrees Fahrenheit, and normally I use extra virgin olive oil in everything, but the flash point for extra virgin olive oil is 386 degrees, the one which I use, and I'm baking to 430 Fahrenheit. So that's why I'm using avocado oil, because avocado oil has a flash point of 500 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's a 1/4 cup of avocado oil. And then 2 tablespoons of organic apple cider vinegar. Now give it a good mix. Now in the next step, I'm going to be pouring this thing in the waffle pans. These are the waffle molds. Each mold has 4 waffles. So I'll be spraying some avocado oil spray so that it comes out very nicely. So it doesn't stick. Normally it shouldn't, but sometimes it does. So just as a caution, because silicone doesn't let it stick, but sometimes it does. And I'm going to spray it a little bit each and every nook and cranny so that everything is soaked and wet with the oil, avocado oil spray. Some people use the canola spray and all that, but those are seed oils, so I stay away from those. Remember, I've been saying this all this time in my vlogs. Now I'll be pouring in each portion of the mold. I'm using half cup at a time, and then I'm going to come back and top it off if need be. Just eyeballing it, you know, wherever I see that it's a little bit less, trying to top it off. And remember that, you know, the apple cider vinegar and the baking soda and baking powder which we have added is going to does the trick, and these waffles are going to rise. So oven is ready with 430 degrees Fahrenheit. 430 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to put it in for about 35 minutes and we'll come back. So 35 minutes is over. Waffles are done. I'm going to let it cool down for just about 5 minutes and then flip the molds so that it comes out easily. So I flipped it and I took it out. These are 8 waffles. I'm going to let it cool to the room temperature and then I'm going to put it in the freezer for usage. Normally Sundays are our waffle day during the breakfast. One thing I wanted to mention here that, you know, the millet and oat flour I used, it has some complex carbs in it, but, you know, when I make my own waffle, because, you know, I use coconut flour, I replace coconut flour in lieu of oat and millet. And I don't use the millet seeds as well. So my waffles are based on coconut flour, just like my bread. And this is for my wife and my son. This is millet and oat flour waffles. Also, I wanted to mention one thing that, you know, the recipe calls out for 2 tablespoons of sugar, or you can use 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, or you can use 2 tablespoons of honey. But I didn't use one. I didn't use any sugar, any sugary content. These waffles are without sugar completely. Now, the reason is that when we eat, when we consume during the breakfast, we use maple syrup anyways, a little bit. So I wanted to cut down as much sugar as possible for the better insulin sensitivity. So I prefer not to use any added sugar in this case. The second thing is that, you know, these are complex carbs. These are not refined carbs because I didn't use all-purpose flour. So a lot of people use all-purpose flour. All-purpose flour is no good because it has a lot of glucose content. It converts after digestion. So try to avoid all-purpose flour and use the complex carb flours if possible. The last thing I want to mention that, you know, I've been using psyllium husk. Psyllium husk is something, is very potent. It gives the texture, but besides the texture, it has whatever the amount of carb it has equivalent amount of fiber as well. So the net carb is 0. So you are not getting any carb from psyllium husk. It has a net carb of 0. That's number one. Number two, it helps in lowering your LDL as well, natural. This is one of the nutraceutical that, you know, can be used to lower the LDL too. But, you know, in lieu of other stuff. So I use pretty frequently in my various recipes psyllium husk wherever it allows me. So with that, I will take off and hopefully see you next week. If you have any questions, concerns, please do put in the comment section and I will try to respond it. See you next week.